Hello everybody and welcome back to Forever Rugby on Forever Sports, and I have found a wild Daniel Scholz in the flesh, and we are sitting in Marseille.
The hockey player.
The hockey player, yeah, and this is now the Bucket Cat crew, and so we're out here operating. First of all, Dan, how are you?
Magnificent, Stevie. Brains firing on all cylinders. Wasn't this morning, but now we're ready.
Yeah, Dan got in about midnight last night, whereupon a bottle of whiskey was open, and we cannot confirm nor deny how much of it was drunk, but there was definitely a bit of a headache this morning. And speaking of headaches, Rassie Erasmus is causing a few, and he's had a bit of a go at Ian Foster, which we're going to talk a little bit about. But if you are new to the channel, we are going to be doing a lot of pre-match stuff. It is South Africa versus Tonga tonight, and we have got so much planned. We're going to be going into the city. We're going to be doing videos throughout the day. We're going to meet up with a couple of fans, for example, and yeah, as I said, Dan has joined us, so we're going to see a bit more of the Forever Sports crew. But let's talk about Rassie Erasmus, who has decided to declare war a bit on Ian Foster. So for context, Ian Foster, after his 96-17 drubbing of Italy, basically said, you know, we've seen two very different games. In that the South Africa versus Ireland game, he said, you know, there were only 32 minutes of ball and play or whatever it was. He said very stop-start game, very physical challenge, and he said, you know, what we've seen tonight is a lot of running rugby, a lot of openness, and he said, you know, that the fans are probably going to have to make a decision of what sort of game we want to see. Now, Rassie Erasmus did not take that very well, and he has done what Rassie does, and he jumps onto Twitter. And he says, and I quote, "Ian, always a straight shooter and say it as it is. Have respect for him since he coached for the Chiefs. But I think two more minutes more ball and play and an epic battle between Ireland and Box is the game I would rather watch." Brackets, while saying that, your boys were crisp and clinical. And he brought his receipts as well, you know, so he brought in the stats. And New Zealand versus Italy, 96-17, ball and play minutes, 32 minutes and 7 seconds. South Africa versus Ireland, 8-13, ball and play, 29 minutes, 56 seconds. Attacking minutes in the New Zealand game was 18.1 minutes. In the South Africa Ireland game was 15.1 minutes. And so
essentially, like, not hugely
much.
different, you know, very similar stats for a very different game.
So Rassie has gone after him. Now, what do you, as Ian Foster? I think he basically finished the game, walked into a press conference, and decided, well, that's a great game. That's how the game should be, without probably really understanding what the stats were. I mean, Rassie's pretty right, isn't he?
Yeah, I think Ian Foster's been probably given that from someone, or he's seen it before the game and assumed that his team has played 10 times more because they've won 96-0 without actually knowing the amount of...
Let's give the Italians a little bit of credit.
Yeah, no, exactly. Fuck, excuse me. They scored 17 points, but I mean, for me, all it says is what Rassie Erasmus does, and he lives rent-free in everyone else's head. And they, you know, not even Ian Foster in New Zealand can enjoy a 96-point victory without commenting on a South African Ireland game. It's like, it was never about us. Like, you just won 96-0.
Why would we mention? Yeah. It was like when James Lowe when Ireland beat the All Blacks, and James Lowe was like, oh, it's such a privilege, you know, to be out to play against the best team in the world. And they were like, Springboks were ranked number 1 at the time. And he was like, you know, not like, you know, other teams like South Africa who don't play the game. You know, this is the game we're supposed to play. You're going, why are you mentioning us? You know?
Yeah, I mean, they can lay claim to, you know, all the accolades and throw punches when they're at the top and they won. You know, you can do that, but it's just like, we're not getting involved in your business. It's like, we're just going about, you know, the game as we play it, and now all of a sudden we're getting shots fired at us, and without it being warranted, because the minutes were so similar.
Yeah, and Rassie's not one to stand down. Are you a fan of his Twitter antics, following Scotland and only Scotland, for example, putting out a couple of tweets here and there and stuff? Are you a fan of the mind games thing, or do you think it's a bit over the top?
I think it's become a part of the brand now, because I mean, we saw it really come out obviously in the British and Irish Lions, and even before that, like, he's just never done things the same as everyone else. He wants to try and throw off that mental edge, releasing team sheets early, just not generally obeying like rules that are put in place, you know, like essentially saying that he will change his position to whatever it means as long as he can be on the touchline.
Yeah.
See, now he's not on the touchline, but he wants to do it his way, and he doesn't like, you know, someone being able to tell him otherwise. So anything just to ruffle a couple feathers essentially is what I think he likes doing, because everything gets attacked of the Springboks, and then we can be the underdogs again. We can be the people that people don't like, and then people aren't playing their game, they're trying to play the Springboks, which I think, and fair play to Ireland, that didn't happen last weekend, and we even spoke about it in the fan forum that we're glad that they actually went for the 5-3 split, because that means that they didn't succumb to the peer pressure.
They sat there saying, we don't actually care.
Yeah.
You guys can create the sideshow, you guys can go on Twitter, you guys can do even 7-1 split, you can do what you want. This is our process, This is what we do, and we're not going to change for you.
Yeah, fair play.
So, and is that the way to do it? You're looking for teams, don't get called and pulled into this war of words and stuff like that. Just do things your way, because if you do get pulled into a war of words and trying to buy into the Bok narrative and stuff like that, and they're also good at deflecting and creating sort of side shows, it becomes quite a big distraction.
Definitely, I don't think you're going to beat. Because also, it's never really from our players. We don't have anyone in our team that's like that's vocal in that way. I think other teams have a couple players that can't bite their lip as well. Rassie kind of is the only one who says it, not even Jock. Like, it seems like the rest of the squad's not really interested in it as well, which kind of makes it better. It's not like it's the whole South African team ethos to
jump onto Twitter.
Jump onto Twitter and start shooting shots. It's kind of just Rassie, and it's undercover. It's small things. He's very. He knows it's going to get found out, but he doesn't announce it to the world like the following Scotland. He's not outrightly tweeting that, but he's making it known.
He'll use his Bernal. Yaka Yahan might make an appearance. We haven't seen him since the British Irish Lions.
I was about to say, I was very surprised. He's been very quiet all Yaka Yahan.
Yeah, had a bit of a sabbatical. It'll be interesting to see when he eventually does return. But basically that's what sort of happened. And I think, I think Ian Foster probably said something without knowing the full facts and stuff. And to be honest, I think he's probably looking a bit silly now, because if you ask the rugby community, I think everybody would have preferred to have watched the Bok Island game. People are talking about that as one of the best rugby games ever, let alone one of the best World Cup games, and probably definitely one of the best World Cup pool games, for example. It was an absolutely brilliant contest. I think if you ask the neutral, would you rather watch Italy get it drubbed 96-17 with 2 minutes more ball in hand play, basically, or you watch the two best teams in the world going toe-to-toe and it being a very close game?
I mean, there's a reason that World Cup finals aren't high-scoring games. It's because it's the two best teams in the world that are just so precise in their craft that it's so difficult to break down.
Game of margins for a reason.
Game of margins, exactly. And it's very small moments that define it. So it's 96 point blowout win. It's very different. It's just a weird comparison to make.
Yeah, it was weird.
And also just because, Ian Foster isn't exactly the face of rugby innovation either. So it's like when he says, you have to choose who you're going to watch in the future, it's like, well, it's not like you defining the landscape of what this future is.
And it's also like you can really control it, because it's not like Ireland and South Africa got together and said, right, we're going to make this a tight game. We're not going to score tries, Pretty sure today, South Africa know they want the bonus point. They're going to go out today and go and say, right, how can we score 7-8 tries today and really, build up a bit of points difference, get that bonus point. So, I think it was a bit of a strange comment. But I want to know what you guys think. Let me know down in the comments below. What do you think? Do you think Rassie was right to come out and say it? Do you think he shouldn't even be responding? Does Ian Foster have a point? Does he not have a point? Let me know down in the comments below. Smash a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel. As I said, we're going to be doing stuff throughout the day. We're going to be heading to the harbour side now. We're going to be meeting up with fans. We're going to be doing fan cams. The Bra Army as well. We're going to go check them out there. So there's a whole big bunch of South Africans who are going to meet at a pub before. So we're going to go check that vibe out. So lots planned before kickoff at 9 o'clock. And it's absolutely sweltering over here in Marseille. The bucket hats are out, the glasses are out. We're going to put a bit of sunscreen on and get onto the beers, which is the plan. So let me know if you are in Marseille in the comments. Come and meet us up. We'll be at the fan village a bit later. We'll be at the stadium before the game. If you'd like to come say hi, get some photos with all the different guys. And if you're not there, make sure you come and join the watch along. Mark will be with you tonight, taking you through a blow-by-blow count. There'll be player ratings afterwards. There'll be the press conferences, all of our usual coverage, and so much more, all here on Forever Sports from Marseille. This has been Stevie P, and we'll see you guys soon.